My name is Madeline Govenda, and I am the salutatorian. I'd like to welcome you all to the commencement ceremony of Ovid Elsie High School's Class of 2020. I'd also like to thank each and every one of you for listening tonight, whether you are tuning in as a fellow classmate, friend, parent, sibling, grandparent, aunt, uncle, cousin, staff, or board member. We thank you for joining us as we celebrate this momentous occasion. Okay, I'm just going to be honest. I feel like I've changed this speech about 1,000,000 times. First, I wrote several drafts for our more traditionally planned graduation, and then yesterday, when we learned of the change in plans to a drive-through graduation, I changed it yet a few more times. What a metaphor that is for how this year has been. Constant change and uncertainty. Speaking of, does anyone else kind of feel like they're on a roller coaster they can't seem to get off? I feel like I was strapped into the 2020 Express and just dragged along for the ride. I never quite knew what awaited around the corner or at the bottom of the hill. It's been that way with school, it's been that way with prom, and it's certainly been that way with graduation. I feared that each new day would bring a new cancellation or postponement. Even still, I feel that way. I never quite know what the next day will bring, and that's scary. However, I was recently told something that gave me a new perspective. My great-grandma Joanne sent me a video message in which she said, "Life is not about the destination, but rather the journey." What an important reminder. If we dwell too much on what we've lost or missed out on, we lose sight of what's right in front of us. What's right in front of us is this drive-through graduation that so many people worked hard to plan. What's right in front of us is our family, friends, and supporters who love us. What's right in front of us is this day. Let's make the most of it and enjoy it. We have a choice every day. We can spend it moping around being sad or angry about the things we cannot control, or we can get up and make it the best day of our lives. Class of 2020, enjoy the journey and make every day the best day of your life.
Hello there. My name is Shane Loynes, and I am the valedictorian of the Ovid Elsie graduating class of 2020. It truly is an honor to represent this very unique class and stand before you all given our very troubling and peculiar circumstances. Before I dive in, I would like to give you all a quick story that provides the reason behind why I decided to cut my hair. One day during our quarantine, I decided to go on a bike ride around the county. I had made it all the way to the north side of Meridian Road, about a mile or two away from 57, when my hair started to really bother me. It kept getting in my face, and the bugs that day were for some reason obnoxiously attracted to me, and I tried to flip my hair out of my eyes and fell straight off the bike and into the ditch. Seconds after the traumatizing experience, I decided that it was time to cut my hair, and now here I am, still traumatized, with short hair. On the bright side, though, I did end up biking like 30 miles that day, so. On a serious note, I am very honored to be here today with all my classmates and their family members, given our unique conditions. I would like to thank Mr. Tokar, the Govendas, and the Blankster for working tirelessly throughout the past couple of months to provide us with a wonderful opportunity to be here today. I also want to thank everyone who has helped me alongside this special journey. I know there's no way I can mention everyone, so I'm sorry in advance if I miss you. All of my coaches throughout my life who have pushed me to not only be the best athlete I can be, but best person. My teachers for helping me through all the problems I have faced during school. The boys for being the best group of homies and for being there for me since the beginning of time. All of my friends for making school and life in general an absolute joy, and for making every day a new adventure. the CEOs of Meridian Weekly, and Luke, Dale, Martin for helping me get my feet on the ground by providing me with a stable $20 weekly income. The Kevster for always listening to me talk about the greatest movie franchise of all time, Star Wars, and being the most supportive person I know. But most importantly, I would like to thank all my family members for all the support throughout the years. My grandparents, Bobby, Fran, Rich, and the late Rosie, who passed away before I was born on this very day 20 years ago. You guys are the most loving and caring people I have ever met, and I'm very thankful to be your grandson. All of my aunts and uncles as well, for all the countless support throughout the years. I mean, who could ever forget flying to Grandma's house via hyperspeed Chewie with Uncle Davy? Despite the fact that my grandma, Francine, couldn't be here today, I can still guarantee you all that she is crying too. My siblings Jacob and Izzy for being the two most special people I know. Although you two may literally do nothing, literally ever, to clean the house, I still love you and always will. And last but not least, Mike and Heidi for being the most incredible people I know. There's no possible way for me to put the words together to show you guys my appreciation, but just know that I am so grateful for having you guys in my life. As I look back at my high school years with these wonderful people behind me, I can't help but think about how memorable our 4 years were. I mean, how many classes that graduate from this school will get to say that basically their entire second semester was canceled? It's like one big snow day that you enjoy initially, but looking back, it can be quite sad. After taking some time to think, I've come to the conclusion there's no better message to address during our times. Throughout my life, I have learned that in general, people are very ungrateful for what they have. Life is a very precious thing that only comes around once for every one of us, and there are too many people that don't take advantage of that. I'm sure that if I were to go around and ask every person here if they have any amount of regret for anything, every person would answer with a resounding yes, and I am the same. However, my question is why? If I could offer one piece of advice to you all, it would be to, from here to your last breath, to live your life to the absolute fullest. Visit your grandparents often. Shoot your shot with your crush. Talk to your friends. Participate in school activities. Get in trouble once in a while. Be yourself. Pretend to be a force user. Whatever it may be, but most importantly, enjoy the time you have with the people close to you, because you never know when that might end. For many of my classmates and I, this very well could be the last time we see each other, when in all reality, we should have had much more time together. This past year has taken a lot of precious moments away from all of us. Spring sport athletes never got closure. Clubs were cut short. Prom is gone. Normal graduation. Walking the hallways in our gowns. All of it is gone. And yes, it is sad. But that doesn't mean we have to sit here and mourn what could have been. Part of the journey is the end. And our journey may have had an alternate ending than expected, but that doesn't stop every one of us from being world changers. We are the future of our nation and the world. And I wholeheartedly believe that all of my classmates are capable of being the change they wish to see in our world. Our world is divided. People are struggling. Only together are we as a nation and world going to overcome the struggles we are currently facing. We are the spark that will light the fire that will help to bring universal peace amongst all people. So the people of the Ovid Elsie community and all my classmates behind me, I encourage you to go out and live your lives as joyful as you can and continue to make a difference in the world. The world is in our hands. And always remember the one rule of the Flint Tropics basketball organization. Everybody love everybody. Now for all of you that know me, I'm not a super sentimental person. I like to have fun, joke around, and absolutely love the Star Wars movies. I wanted to end my speech by putting on a Chewbacca mask and doing a Wookiee roar for my send-off, but my mom thought it'd be too immature for this formal event. So since I'm unable to do that, I just have to settle with this. So long, Ovid Elsie, and may the Force be with us.
Good evening, parents and students. I would like to first take a moment and thank all of you graduates and your parents for making the last 9 years very special and memorable for all the right reasons. Great students are a direct reflection of great parenting. Parents that have expectations and don't lower the bar just because. I also want to thank our Board of Education for their continued support in allowing me and my administrative team the flexibility to always do what's best for our students and living the motto, students first. Students, about 9 years ago on an extremely hot evening, a lot like tonight, in August of 2011, we all crammed ourselves into the gym at EE night. After watching last night's senior videos, I'm reminded how much you have all grown as human beings. I'm reminded of how throughout your educational career you transformed from children into adolescent, annoying teenagers, and finally into mature young adults that you are today. The Class of 2020 tagline for 4 years has been how you see things perfectly. The 2020 reference started by the class officers and Miss Blank was supposed to be a play on 2020 vision. That is what I want to remind you of as we celebrate your day today. We have to look at the challenges we have had to face as opportunities. This difficult situation does not define who you are because you see things in the right perspective. When you turn the media, you might hear things like your class is the quarantine class or the COVID class or all the things that have had to give up during your senior year. All of the things you have had to miss or do without seems to be the talking points of everyone. However, that is not how I want to remember this amazing class. That is not how this class will be remembered. I want to remember this class as the first class to be able to handle distance learning on a week's notice without complaint. I want to remember this class as the first graduating class to ever have their senior tea at a drive-in theater. I want to remember this class as the first class in over 50 years to celebrate their graduation in a drive-through format. I want to remember all the donations of blood your class has contributed to all the blood drives over the 4 years. How awesomely you decorated the hallways during homecoming, and how your homecoming float was borderline a work of art. I want to remember all the volunteer hours that you put in, the music you played at our concerts, the artwork you created and displayed throughout our community, and the families in this community you gave back to. I also want to remember the championships you helped bring to our school and how proud we all are of all of those accomplishments. I hope you remember that life will always have its ups and downs, and there may be little that you can do about it, and there's little that you can control. What we remember, what memories we make, are because of who we are with when life throws a curveball at us. Who was there when things went our way when we won? When they didn't go our way and we lost? Who was there and who was next to us that made us laugh when we screwed up and when we did great? I say this as a reminder to look around you at your friends you are walking with. Look around at your family as they celebrate your achievements with you. You are surrounded by a great group of people, a supportive school district, and a loving small-town community. At this time, I'd like to really send a special thank you to Miss Blank, Mrs. Thornton, and Mrs. Densmore for being great class advisors to you during your high school career. They and your class officers did an amazing job over the last 4 years. Miss Blank, I especially want to thank you for your continued diligence and effort to make this graduating class feel appreciated and celebrated. The senior video last night was nothing short of amazing. I want to thank all of you today for your patience, the respect you have shown to our school, Mr. Govenda and myself over the last 9 years. He and I both got to see you as children at EE night, and today we get to celebrate watching you all take the stage as young adults ready to take on the world. Congratulations, class of 2020, and go Marauders. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'd like to introduce our guest speaker for tonight's graduation, Captain Pat Schiffer from the United States Air Force.
Good evening, Mr. Tokar and whoever else made the call to let me speak here today. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and honored that you had asked me to speak. What a year it's been for the world and especially for the class of 2020. I want to say that I'm sorry to hear the last day you all were in school was right around March 13th and that the new normal took over at that time. That your senior year was robbed from you. I can't imagine what that must have been like. I heard that this class is particularly close. Mine was as well. I'm sure you already have been, but continue to be there and support one another, now and in the future. Great friendships are truly something to cherish. I graduated from OE a long time ago, over a decade. I'm a proud member of the class of 2007. As I said, I'm excited to be here, but the 2020 graduating class really makes me feel old. I'm sure you teachers that were here when I was in high school are saying, yeah, no kidding. I want to talk briefly today about 3 things: attitude, taking a second, and having fun. I want to tell you a little bit about my mother. She is an amazing woman. Kathy Schiffer is a saint. I know some of you know her. Those of you that know her could probably agree she's a relatively optimistic person. She's the most positive person in my world. Something all of you may not know is that she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis over 25 years ago. She's had bouts with breast cancer and skin cancer. Because of these things, she's had multiple career changes. And worse yet, she's had to put up with my dad for over 35 years. With all these setbacks, she has continued to stay unwaveringly positive. One time I was in middle school. I was having a bad morning, getting ready for the day. I was throwing a fit over a very serious matter. Like my sister looked at me the wrong way, or some fight I got in on AOL Messenger the night before or something. AOL Messenger, that's right. That was one of the original platforms to slide into the DMs, as you kids call it these days. Anyway, she could tell I was annoyed and having a day. She said to me, "Pat, you get to choose." She said, "You get to choose how you want to approach the day. I know it seems like nothing, but your attitude is a very, very powerful tool." It's stuck with me ever since, in my mind, and she continues to tell me to this day, if I'm venting to her or struggling with something in my life, you get to choose. So in approaching how the pandemic has affected you, how it has stolen your senior year, how you react in the future to a bad interview or a bad day at work or a fight with a friend, don't forget how powerful of a tool that your attitude is and that you get to choose. I also want to talk to you about taking a second. Taking a second to appreciate the steps along the way. Life may be slow to you all now. Maybe it's fast and busy, I'm not sure. The one thing I can assure you is that it will get faster, more hectic. You'll be more busy and have more responsibilities. I was taking a weekend of leave with my classmate. We had just got done with a 13-month undergraduate pilot training program, which is a chunk of our 2.5-year pilot training pipeline. In that roughly 2.5 years, you go from potentially zero time in an aircraft to a rated F-16 pilot. In the 13-month periods, students spend half the time in a propeller-driven aircraft and half the time in a twin-engine jet trainer. It's a rigorous curriculum of written tests, simulator training and evaluations, one-on-one testing, always being evaluated along the way, always being evaluated. At the end of the 13 months, you earn your Air Force pilot wings. So on my weekend of leave after this training, I went to my buddy Charlie's place in Colorado. We're sitting in his parents' living room. We're going over some study material for the next phase of training that would begin in a couple weeks. Charlie and I had been in the books for some time, and his dad approached us. He asked us a few questions about the material we're reviewing, and then he said, "You guys are nuts. You don't stop. You got to take a second and realize what you've done in the last 13 months. It's incredible." We both looked at each other and thought about it, and then it hit us. He was right. In that pilot training pipeline, success, in a large part, in my opinion, is about being prepared for the next step, the next chunk of training, the next flight, the next brief. There's always something to get ready for. It's very easy to get wrapped up in the never-ending process. And it is never-ending, and that's a good thing. Please strive to never stop learning, growing, being curious, but equally important, you got to be able to take yourself out of upgrade, training, promotion mode for just a second to acknowledge the steps along the way. Today, your graduation from high school may not seem like a big deal to you. Believe me, it is. This graduation is a very important step along the way in each of your stories, so please take the time yourself to appreciate and celebrate what you have done and accomplished in the last 17 to 18 years. And don't forget in the future to take a second to acknowledge the steps and accomplishments along the way. The last bit of advice I have for you is to have fun. You need to have fun. I've had my share and probably a couple other people's share of fun along the way. The trick is to find what your passion is. When you find that passion, you're going to have fun. Maybe you already know what that is. You're the lucky ones. You might not know. Maybe you know what it is today, and it changes in a few years. That's fine too. But to find your passion, what is truly fun for you and you thrive at, you need to be brave. You need to be willing to go try. This is how you learn what you like and you don't like. And when you do find that passion, run with it. You will know it's your passion when you are putting in all the work, the long hours, and you don't even notice it because you're just having fun. Sometimes after training missions, we're flying back to the base with myself and a couple of my squadron mates, my friends. And I think, oh my God, they pay me for this. This shouldn't be legal because I'm having so much fun. I want you to be able to find that, or at least have the courage to go try to. So please remember my 3 things that you get to choose. Remember to take a second along the way and have fun. I'd like to thank you again for having me. It's truly an honor to be here. And I'd like to congratulate Ovid Elsie's graduating class of 2020. Go Marauders!
Hello, once again. My name is Madeline Gavenda, and I am the salutatorian of the Ovid Elsie class of 2020. As we draw the evening to a close, I'd like to thank parents, siblings, grandparents, extended family, friends, staff, and board members once more for tuning in. Your support of the class of 2020 has not gone unnoticed, and I extend my sincerest thanks to you. Additionally, I'd like to mention what Shane touched on earlier. We are currently at an unprecedented time in history. To quote the musical Hamilton, this is not a moment, it's the movement. I stand here before you tonight, asking, where will you be? When 2020 is written into the history books, will you be happy with how you thought, how you acted, and how you lived moving forward? Or will you say, I wish I had done more? When people are scared to go out in public because of the color of their skin, will you say, oh well? Or will you stand up and say, the system is flawed and I will do what it takes to change it? Classmates, we as a generation have the power to make that change. We've already seen so many good things come out of this collective outcry. There is power in numbers. You just have to have faith. I urge you to educate yourself on your privilege and use it for good. Seek out and sign petitions. Donate to organizations that support the movement. And above all, vote if you are able. Do your research on all candidates, not just the presidential ones. You may not think your vote matters, but imagine the power your vote has when joined with millions of others. Let us all be a part of the generation that changes our country and our world for the better. Go out, go forth, and make a change. I believe in you. Thank you.
Son of Jim and Tracy Cold Iron. He's doing online education through LCC.
Congratulations. We're going to flip this over. Congratulations. Can I get a picture? Feel weird. Hey, can we do one without a mask? Hey, hard to smile.
I did. Here's Joseph.
You want me to get out? Sophia Craig's out here.
And here's Joseph.
That's Sophia Craig's.
So here's Joseph.
Here's the question.
Behind her.
Not today.
Sophia. So you got Sophia's? So then behind Sophia is Victoria.
Wow. Can you even put it on here? Question. Let's get a quick photo. Just turn that way so they at least get a photo. Yeah.
Good. We had a little panic attack. We're good.
Making sure we're getting the right disclaimers out. Those are just It's all new things. It's all new process. Congratulations. It's gonna get Make sure we're giving you the right diploma too. Congratulations. Move over here. Guys, want to feel some tolerance. Sit back. Keep it together. That's too many chords.
The one with the glasses.
concept. And you already have it on the red, so you're good. Start for a moment.
Oh, it's already.
The boots help to make it get photos because I think mom and dad said here comes the end. Get on here. Sure.
I don't know, but that was a little bit of chaos for that. I'm okay.
I know. It's in the back. It's because he knew that's where the parking lot was. It's in the back.
You guys can come up here if you want. She's on her way. All right, she's coming. You're walking without a brace.
I'm sorry. Take it out. I was trying to get him.
See the pier, so it's on one side. Behind us, there's a pretty good pile.
Hey, I graduated. Yeah, not too good anymore.
Come up here. Just come right over here.
Hey, high fives.
High five.
Yeah, we're giving high fives.
We are getting down there. I stepped to the box.
Hey, Noah, I am bombing drive.
Bombing.
You got the first out.
I mean, I think I
Oh, we got to hurry. Then we need three here. Oh, I know we're saying to put it on. Where's the Rademacher? They're already out. She's already out.
Come on up. All kinds of problems.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
So we gotta read your faces all the time. I said, "Oh, you're gonna miss this place."
Oh, yeah.
That's good. Congratulations.
It's
Here,
gonna
hold
be
on.
so-
Let me get this. So, turn left is pictures.
No, that's right. You did say when we were down here.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. You guys can see.
Congratulations.
Okay.
I'll tell
Go.
you what to do when you get here.
Go ahead.
Congratulations. Hold still.